Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this postmortem of my Blitz game number 576. I had the white pieces and kicked off with d4. And my opponent played e6, not the most common response, but kind of a flexible move, not all that bad. You have to be willing to play different systems, but it's a way, if I play c4, for example, black could go into the Dutch. Or I could play e4 as I do, which is in a way the more principled response. You're taking control of the center when given the chance, and this transposes into the French defense. So d5 and knight c3, knight to f6, these are all normal moves. Knight c3 is allows either the win hour or the classical. This is the classical French. And then e5 is a Steinitz variation. I actually meant to play bishop to g5, which is an interesting way to play as well. But well, e5, I play this a lot. I'm pretty familiar with it. So, and then f4. The idea with this move is just to build up a big center and gain space on the king side, and white will counterattack, and black will counterattack in the center. So let's see, I have to defend now, and he keeps piling up the pressure on the d pawn, and I keep defending. And now it's an interesting moment for black. There's a lot of different choices here, all plausible continuations. Queen b6 is the most tactical line that continues with knight to a4 and queen to a5 check, and c3 there, defending the knight and blocking the check. And it goes on from there, a long tactical line where actually black sacrifices a piece for 3 pawns and gets good play. Interesting line. a6 seems to be kind of a modern way to play it, just taking away this square from my knight, I guess. You know, one idea in this setup is the knight hopping into d6, so a6 prevents that idea, and then there'll be play over here later, I guess, with the exchange, or just taking right away. The most popular move is taking immediately on d4 and opening up a line for the dark squared bishop. But he played the fourth choice here, bishop e7, and I don't know if I've ever faced this before. It looks like queen d2 is the main move here, but I went with bishop e2, which isn't bad. We both castled. Once again, a queen d2 would have been a move, and after a6, still queen d2 is the main move. I guess the idea is to lift up the queen off of the back ranks so the rooks are connected, and maybe line up a battery here against the king side, although it's not clear to me that that's so effective. Black has a battery as well guarding the dark squares. So anyway, I just went with the exchange here. And I think the queen eventually goes to d2 anyway. There's probably no other square for the queen to go to. That's probably why it goes there. But this is not bad. This leads to an okay position. Let's see, we're out of the book here. And I went with a3. I wanted to kick this knight away. This knight is always threatening to hop into e4. So I'm going to get in the move b4 and chase it away before it. I have to worry about that. At the moment, that square is protected by my knight, but that knight might not always be there. So he expands on the queen side, and I play b4, kicking the knight back. Knight goes to d7, and now I hop my knight into d4. So good square for the knight, although it often just gets traded off there. And now he plays this interesting move, queen c7. And this move comes with the threat that both of us ignored. But there's now an indirect attack on my knight sitting here on c3, which is a loose piece. That's not defended at all. And so I should defend it. Let's see. Queen to d3 would be a good move here. Queen to d2 would already be defending it if I had played queen to d2 at some earlier point. So another point behind queen d2, I guess. Anyway, I ignored that and put the bishop over here. You know, the queen is good on this diagonal, coordinating with the light squared bishop. There's ideas for a quick attack like we see in the game, but well, this just is not right because he can now grab a pawn here, taking advantage of the discovered attack on my knight. So if I take his knight, he takes my knight. He's just a pawn up. Let's see, I can try some trickiness with the knight f5. Basically, this is, I give up a pawn, but I get the bishop pair because I'm attacking this bishop here, and I will take it with check. Now, if he takes my knight, then I have, I can get a pawn back. So he defends the bishop. Now I grab the bishop with check, and then I just have to defend my knight with, say, queen e1. And I'm down a pawn, but I've got the bishop pair, and I can play on, have some compensation for the pawn. Anyway, that would have been unfortunate. I wasn't seeing that at all. He played knight to b6, so he's continuing with his own plans. He wants to put a knight on c4. And now already it looks like bishop takes h7 check is a winning tactic. Although I think if you let the chess engine chew on this for a while, yeah, it decides it doesn't quite work and it's just good for a draw. Anyway, I wanted to strengthen that attacking idea by lifting the rook. But this does give black a moment to defend. But this is an important point to note. If you're a French defense player, you have to be aware of these attacking ideas and be prepared to play some defensive moves here, because the best defensive piece, the knight on f6, has already been chased away by the advanced e-pawn. So your king is a bit more vulnerable than usual. So g6 would be a good move here to try and solidify the king side and hold off the attack. Instead he played knight to c4. And then after that, I have a winning attack starting with the bishop takes h7. Although the winning idea is not so easy to find. And if you want to have a real chess puzzle for yourself, see if you can figure out the winning attack from here. You might want to take this off and set it up on a chessboard and play around with it for a while. Pretty interesting position, but I have to say that it's a complicated a complicated variation to get to the winning attack. So not so easy to find. But anyway, let's go on with the game. If you want to think about it for a while, you can pause the video. I went ahead and played the attack. Bishop takes, king takes, and I missed one defensive idea, so I thought I was just winning here. Rook takes. This is all good so far. So this part is pretty straightforward. You should have been able to see this far. Now there's this mate threat, and there's really only one way to meet the mate threat. Bishop h4 is just giving up a piece, so you've got to move the f-pawn. He played f6, looks like f5. It meets the same idea. So I just wanted to pause and say why I thought this was winning was because I was thinking of the typical idea of defending by moving the rook to the side, and that doesn't work because his escape square with the bishop is the e7 square, and the bishop is occupying it. So now after the rook moves, I have check, king goes to f8, check again, and that's mate because the king can't come to e7. So that's why I thought that was winning. I forgot about this f6 idea to give the king the f7 escape square, which appears whenever the queen shows up on h7 or h8. It gives up the f7 square, and the king can escape that way. So how do you win from this position? And there's only one move here, which the chess engine is already showing, but this is the part that's hard to see. You need to bring your other pieces into the attack. Classic idea in attacking chess. Bring all your pieces to the party. Sacrifice this knight here with the idea of pushing the e-pawn forward. Now you've reinstated the mate threat. So this threat of mate has to be dealt with, so he has to take that pawn, so you get your piece back, and now you get a knight, which is attacking the queen, but it's also hitting the g7 square. So it gains a tempo on the queen. Say the queen goes to d7, and now you can break through on g7. You can sacrifice the knight there, and you have a winning attack that way. Also, just f5 and holding the knight there is an idea as well. So it's still a complicated line from here, but that's the winning idea with the attack, is that knight sacrifice. Anyway, in this position I played queen g6, which I thought at first was winning, but then I realized he can actually defend the g7 pawn with his rook, and then I didn't really see an answer after that. Let's see, he can defend here. What is black's best reply here? Yeah, knight takes d4 to start getting rid of these attacking ideas would be starting to get rid of my extra attacking pieces. That's the way he can continue and play on, and it's really only a slight edge to white at this point. But the move he made is just losing. So here's the second tactical quiz for you, and this one's more realistic. After knight takes e3, which is what he played in the game, there's a forced mate for white. So see if you can find the forced mate and see if you can figure out the main ideas there. I think in the main line it's a mate in 3, although there's, black has a few spite checks and things he can throw in to extend it to 5 moves, but it's basically a mate in 3 here. Okay, pause the video now if you want time to think about it. I missed this idea during the game, which is kind of a shame because I had part of the idea. My plan was to bring the rook down to h7, and that's how it starts. And you can see it's a mate in 6 here, but like I said, it's actually faster because a lot of those moves are nonsense moves. And he has to defend. He has to defend the g7 square. Let's see, if we ignore moves like knight f5, which is just like throwing material away, he has to defend with something like rook here. And then the idea is queen h5. And you're controlling this square, the exit squares for the king, and you're also threatening mate, and there's no way to stop it. Let's see, g6 is the best try, but then you can take on g6 and then mate the king on f8. So that is winning. Let's see, other defenses here. He could move the bishop, rook to f7, bishop to d8 is a way to try and defend as well. And then still queen to h5. And you have the same idea. So that's kind of a clever tactic. We start from this position with the queen in front of the rook, and then we play a few moves, queen g6, and then rook to h7, and then the queen goes back to h5, and we've reversed the position of the queen and the rook, so the queen still guards the escape squares, and that's the mating idea. Should really have this in your stock of mating patterns ready at hand to think about when these situations pop up. Anyway, I went for queen h7 check, not seeing that idea, and he allowed the repetition. He went king f7. I went back to h5 check, and he just repeated. He could actually escape here if we back up. He can play g6. And then the king escapes. And I've sacrificed too much material here, and my pieces are hanging as well. I have to start taking things back just to stay in the game. But in this position, he's got 2 bishops for my knight, so he's up a piece, and his king is safe enough. I might pick up another pawn here, but just not enough compensation, so black is winning. Instead, he went for the repetition, so we just repeated moves like this and called it a draw. So a lucky escape for me, but also a lucky escape for him as well. Anyway, interesting game. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave any comments you have in the section below, and I will see you again soon. Bye.